everyone, it's Gothic Man here. So today I'm going to talk about some books that I have read, which is more on the modern style of Gothic novels rather than the more traditional sense of Gothic novels. I have written a blog post about this that I will share the link below if people want to check out the blog link. So personally, I love Gothic literature. I love a good book. I love to sit down reading a book. But sometimes I'm in the mood for lighter reading and I don't want such a heavy book to read. So this is more my light reading style of books. For me, I fell in love with vampire novels and the romanticized idea of vampires, and the dark story of vampires was from Dracula and Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire. I saw the movies first because that's what I had access to at my age, and then I went and read the books later because I just fell in love with these. They influenced my love and my passion for vampire novels. So I was hooked, of course. So, of course, after Anne Rice's books, we started to see a changing culture of vampire stories. So now we get many varieties of vampires. We get evil vampires, good vampires, hero type vampire, or horror scary type vampires, and even to evolve to Twilight style vampires. So the world of vampires is really shaped and changed. So I'm going to talk about books I've read that are not Twilight. These are other, I guess, modern-ish vampire novels that I read and quite enjoyed. So first book is Vampire Academy. So there's about 6 books in Vampire Academy. There's Vampire Academy, Frostbite, Shadow Kiss, Blood Promise, Spirit Bond, and Last Sacrifice. I loved these books. I will honestly say, and I've probably read them about 5 or 6 times now, and I'd happily pick them up again and read the whole series again. That's just how much I've really enjoyed these books. I just love the whole dynamic of the story where you've got royal vampires being Moroi and you've got vampire vampires that are your lower class citizens of the vampire world, where they become bodyguards, and if they can't become bodyguards they come and fill the other jobs in the vampire world. And then you also have your scary type vampires being the Stragoys, which are like the infected style of vampires, and everyone in the vampire world does not want to become a Strigoi at all. So the book is based around Rose Hathaway, a Dampier, and Lisa Dragonmore, which is a Moroi. And you can't help but love these two and their dynamic the whole way through the novels. Rose is the main one that catches you because that's the main one you're following. But just as the story evolves, it gets more and more interesting. And of course, there's danger, there's love, and all that jazz in these books. So I really enjoyed them and would recommend them. Next books I would recommend is Bloodline, which is the spin-off of Vampire Academy. There's about 6 books in this spin-off as well, being Bloodline, Golden Lily, Indigo Spell, Fields of Fear Heart, Silver Shadow, and Ruby Circle. So later on in the books that you meet an alchemist, and then these books sort of go from there. So you sort of follow the character of Sydney the alchemist, Adrian a vampire, and also Jill a vampire, and Eddie a Dampier. So you have to kind of read Vampire Academy to follow follow Bloodline series, but I really enjoyed it. It was harder at the beginning to get into because I just loved the Vampire Academy series more. So, but it was still good because it kind of still incorporated the main vampire series in its own way. So I would still recommend it if you loved that series. Next one I would recommend is The House of Knights. So this is a hefty series. It's got about 10 books in this series. Marked, Betrayed, Chosen, Untamed, Hunted, Tempted, Burned, Awakened, Destined, and Hidden. To be honest, I have not read the last two books. I think it's the last two I haven't read to this books, just because I kind of lost interest towards the end of the series. It didn't really hold me anymore. And it is a vampire novel, but it's not as well. I'd call it more of a Wiccan style of novels. So the idea is everyone's normal people until they get marked. And when they get marked to be a vampire, they have to leave the human world to join a vampire academy style. But it's more like transitioning vampires rather than vampires. So they haven't quite transitioned yet. And this is a school to kind of prepare them for that transition. So I find it was a decent series. It might be something you really enjoy. It might not be. Next one is Blood of Eden. So there's only 3 books to this as a trilogy. The Immortal Rules, Eternal Cure, and Forever Song. I actually didn't mind this one at all. It's kind of a world. You're in a world that's vampires have kind of taken over. Humans are kind of not their blood slaves, but kind of are their blood slaves in a sense. And the main character, Alison, she's a young teenager that's been trying to hide from the vampire world and living in the slumps and really roughing it out. And then she gets turned into a vampire and she gets tormented for a little while about herself because she's a vampire now and she didn't really want to be a vampire. And then she gets wrapped up into this whole storyline of having to cure the world because of another evil plot. So it's an interesting story for a light read. It's decent because it's only 3 books, so it's not taking forever to finish the story. So I really enjoyed that fact of them books. The next one would be Vampire Queen, is the last novel that I'm going to share, and it's a 3-book trilogy as well. Infinity Day, Stolen Night, and Eternal Dawn. This is a very different style vampire book. Basically, the main character was a vampire queen. She had her own coven. She's powerful, one of the oldest vampires you could find, and she got turned back into a human in the modern century, so the modern world, and she has to adjust to the changes of that, of being a human and trying to leave her vampire life behind, but her vampire world does not want to let her go quite yet. There kind of becomes this love triangle in this story that really kind of irritates me, to be honest, but you kind of just go with it in a really weird way. You do go with the story, but I really enjoyed the ending book. I found it kind of pieced it all together really nicely and into it. But it was an interesting read, just for something light. If you're bored, I'd still recommend it just for that reason. So I hope you enjoyed these book suggestions. I will put my blog down below, like I said, which will have a little bit more details about the books. So thank you for watching my video, and I'll catch you later.